The Keldari research vessel Empirical Truth floated silently at the edge of the Sol system. The ship's special cloaking system made it impossible for Earth scanners to detect it. Commander Han stood by the large window, watching the small blue planet in the distance. His silver eyes reflected the soft glow of Earth. "Status report," Han said calmly. All Keldari spoke this way, measured, logical, and without emotion. Science Officer Day walked over with a tablet. "We finished the first scans, Commander. Earth has many different types of life, and an unusual mix of gases in its air. It matches what we call a Class 3 living world." "What about the main life form there?" Han asked. "They walk on 2 legs and have hair. They call themselves humans. From what we can tell from our distant listening, they only know basic radio technology." Han nodded slowly. The Keldari Science Council had sent them here after picking up radio signals from about 70 Earth years ago. These signals suggested a young species still finding its way to the stars. "Get the watching drones ready," Han ordered. "We need to study these humans carefully before we decide if they should join the collective." Day looked troubled. "Sir, there's something strange about these humans. The signals we heard, they're growing in technology faster than any other species we found." "Then we must be even more careful in our study," Han replied. He turned to his communication officer. "Send our findings back to Homeworld. Ask if we can move to Phase 2 watching." The communication officer's son typed quickly on his console. "Message sent, Commander. It will reach Homeworld in 3 days." Han turned back to the view of Earth. "Until then, we continue watching from a distance." For the next several days, the crew collected data. They recorded Earth's weather patterns, mapped its oceans, and listened to its communications. Researcher Kang, who studied alien languages, made an important discovery. "Commander, I've decoded enough of their main languages to understand some communications. They fight a lot among themselves." "Fighting is common for young species," Han said. "Yes, but they also create beautiful things: music, art, stories. And they help each other after disasters. Their behavior doesn't follow logical patterns." Weapons analyst June joined the conversation. "Their weapons are primitive but evolving quickly. They've split the atom. That took our species 3,000 years to discover. They did it in less than 100 years. Han frowned. This was unusual. Most species followed predictable paths of development. Slow, steady progress over thousands of years was normal. Rapid jumps in technology were not. On the 7th day, a response came from Homeworld. Sun called Han to the communication room. "The Science Council has approved Phase 2 observation," Sun reported. "They're sending the research vessel Methodical Inquiry with a team of specialists." "When will they arrive?" Han asked. 6 months. Until then, we are to continue distant observation only. No contact." Han nodded. "Send probes to their moon. We need more data." The small disc-shaped probes left the ship silently, heading toward Earth's moon. They would bury themselves below the surface and send back information about Earth's daily life. Later that night, Han sat alone in his quarters reviewing the day's findings. A particular human broadcast caught his attention: children playing in a park. One child fell and hurt her knee. Instead of leaving her behind, as would be logical if she could not keep up, the other children stopped to help her. Similar scenes repeated in the data: humans helping other humans who were injured, sick, or old. This made no sense from an evolutionary standpoint. The Keldari had long ago removed such inefficient behaviors from their society. "Computer, make note," Han said. "Humans display illogical care for weaker members. This suggests emotional decision-making overrides survival efficiency." Before going to sleep, Han added one more note: "Exercise extreme caution when the research team arrives. These humans are unpredictable." As the Empirical Truth continued its silent watch, none of the crew realized they were documenting a species that would eventually cause the mighty Keldari to retreat in fear for the first time in their 8,000-year history of space exploration. The humans, meanwhile, continued their chaotic lives, unaware of the silver eyes watching them from the darkness beyond their world. 6 months later, the research vessel Methodical Inquiry entered Earth orbit silently. The ship was bigger than the first one and carried 12 Keldari scientists. Their mission was to study humans up close. Lead xenobiologist Jin stood in the main room, looking at the large screen showing Earth below. She had silver skin like all Keldari, but her eyes had tiny flecks of blue, rare among her kind and a sign of her superior observation skills. "Everyone, please take your seats," Jin said. The other scientists stopped talking and sat around the oval table. "Our mission is clear," Jin continued. "We are here to watch, record, and learn about humans. We must not let them see us. Is that understood?" All 12 nodded. Jin touched a button and a 3D map of Earth appeared above the table. "We have placed watching stations on their moon and in orbit around Earth. Each of you will study different parts of their world." Young researcher Tay raised his hand. "Is it true their technology has grown very fast?" Jin nodded. "Yes. When we first heard their radio signals, they had just invented cars. Now they have computers, satellites, and space stations. This is not normal." Senior analyst Min, the oldest member of the team, looked worried. "No species we've studied has ever developed so quickly. It should take thousands of years, not decades." "That's why we're here," Jin said, "to understand how and why." Over the next few weeks, the team watched humans with growing confusion. They saw humans risk their lives to save strangers. They saw them create beautiful art and music, then start wars that killed millions. Nothing about them made sense. One day, Tay called Jin to his station. "Look at this," he said, pointing to his screen. It showed a human city that had been hit by a big storm. Many buildings were broken. Water covered the streets. "What am I looking for?" Jin asked. "Watch the humans," Tay said. On the screen, humans were using small boats to rescue people trapped in buildings. Others were giving food and blankets to people who had lost their homes. Some were even helping animals. "They risk themselves for others even when there's no benefit," Tay said. "Our models can't explain this." Jin frowned. "Show me something else." Tay changed the screen to show another city. This one had not been hit by a storm. People were walking, talking, working. It looked normal. Then the screen showed 2 humans fighting over a small piece of paper. "What is happening?" Jin asked. "The paper is money, they're fighting over it," Tay explained. "In one place they give freely to help others. In another they fight over small things. I cannot make sense of it." Jin went back to her own station. She had been watching human families. They also confused her. Parents would give food to their children before eating themselves. They would work hard jobs they didn't like to provide for their families. This was not logical. After 3 months of watching, Jin called everyone together. "Our studies are failing," she announced. "Our computers cannot predict what humans will do in any situation. They act on emotions we don't understand." Min looked at his data tablet. "They should have destroyed themselves by now. Their history is full of wars. Yet they keep surviving, even growing stronger. And their technology continues to advance faster than any species we've seen," added another scientist, Jun. "At this rate, they'll have space travel like ours in just a few hundred years." Tay spoke up. "I've been watching their stories, what they call movies and books. Many are about meeting aliens. Sometimes they show aliens as friends, sometimes as enemies to fight." "How do they even imagine aliens?" Jin asked. "They've never met any." "That's what makes them strange," Tay said. "They imagine things that don't exist. Then they work to make these things real. Most species only deal with what is in front of them." Jin looked at the blue planet on the main screen. "We need to understand them better. I've decided we should go to Earth." The room went silent. "That is against our rules," Min said finally. "We will use our body-changing technology to look human," Jin explained. "We'll go to a small town, not a big city. We will watch only, not talk to them." "It's still risky," Jun said. "Yes," Jin agreed. "But the Keldari need to know if humans are a threat. We cannot tell without seeing them up close." Little did Jin know that this decision would lead to an incident that would change how the Keldari saw humans forever. It would also lead to the first retreat order in Keldari history, all because of a species that did not follow the rules of logic. The trouble started with a small mistake. One of the watching machines on Earth's moon lost its hiding shield for just 3 seconds. It was enough time for a human military satellite to spot it. Tay rushed into Jin's office, his silver face showing rare signs of worry. "Leader Jin, the humans have seen one of our moon stations." Jin put down her data tablet. "Are you certain?" "Yes. Their military satellites changed direction to look at the spot. They've sent messages to their leaders." Jin thought for a moment. Most species would panic upon discovering alien watchers. Running away now would be the safe choice. But Jin was curious. How would humans react to signs of alien life? "This gives us a chance to learn something new," Jin said. "Instead of leaving, we will go down to Earth as planned. We'll see how they respond to the idea that they are not alone." Despite objections from Min and the older scientists, Jin selected Tay and Jun to join her on the mission. They used special machines to change their silver skin to human colors, hide their extra finger on each hand, and make their eyes look human. "We will visit a small town called Millfield," Jin told them. "It's far from big cities, but close enough to learn what we need. Remember, watch only. Do not talk to humans unless absolutely necessary." The 3 Keldari took a small ship down to Earth at night. They landed in the woods outside Millfield and walked into town dressed in human clothes. They had studied human behavior enough to blend in. On their first day, they walked around Millfield, recording everything with tiny cameras in their eyes. The town had about 5,000 humans, small buildings made of wood and brick, and many trees along the streets. On the second day, they witnessed something unexpected. In a green area called a park, a large human was yelling at a smaller one, a child. The large human raised his hand as if to hit the child. Before he could, another small human, a girl no more than 10 years old, stepped between them. "Leave him alone," the small girl said, standing tall despite being afraid. "He didn't do anything wrong." The large human looked surprised. He lowered his hand and walked away, muttering. "Human children defend each other against bigger humans," June whispered. "This makes no sense. The small one could have been hurt." Later that same day, they heard a loud crash from the center of town. A building had fallen down. Dust filled the air. People were screaming. What happened next confused the Keldari even more. Instead of running away from danger, many humans ran toward it. They dug through broken pieces of the building with their hands, pulling out injured people. They risked their lives for strangers, Tay said, watching a man carry an old woman from the ruins. "There's no logical reason for this." Jin made notes on her hidden device. "It seems to be instinct for them. They don't even think about it." The 3 Keldari were so busy watching the humans that they didn't notice the dark clouds gathering. A sudden storm hit the town. Rain poured down. Strong wind blew through the streets. As they tried to return to their hiding place in the woods, a large tree branch fell from above. Tay pushed Jin out of the way, but the branch hit him instead. He fell to the ground, his arm badly hurt. Worse, the injury damaged his appearance-changing device. His skin began to show patches of silver. "We need to get him back to the ship," June said, trying to help Tay stand. "He can't walk that far," Jin replied, "and we can't be seen carrying him." Before they could decide what to do, a human woman appeared through the rain. She wore a white coat and carried a bag. "Is your friend hurt?" she asked, kneeling beside Tay. Jin started to pull Tay away, but the woman had already seen his arm, now fully silver with the extra finger clearly visible. The woman stared, but instead of screaming or running away, she opened her bag. "I'm a doctor, let me help." You see what he is?" Jin said carefully. The doctor nodded, taking out bandages and medicine. "I see someone who's hurt. That's all that matters right now." She treated Tay's wound and wrapped it in white cloth. As she worked, she spoke softly. "I don't know where you're from, but you should be more careful. Others might not react as calmly as I did." When she finished, she stood up and looked at Jin. "There's a back road through the woods that leads out of town. Fewer people that way." She pointed to a small path, then walked away without looking back. Later, safely on their ship, Tay looked at his bandaged arm. She knew I wasn't human. She could have called others, captured us, become famous. Instead, she helped. Jin nodded slowly. The humans saw our moon station, but instead of panicking, they're studying it carefully. This doctor saw we were aliens, but helped anyway. She looked out the window at the lights of Millfield below. They are not what we expected. That night, Jin sent a message to the Kildari homeworld. Humans defy all our models. They cannot be predicted by any logical system we have. Back on the main ship methodical inquiry, Jin called all 12 scientists together. The room was quiet, as they waited for her to speak. On the big screen behind her, images of Earth moved slowly. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. Our mission has changed, Jin announced. We now know humans have spotted one of our moon stations. We must understand what kind of threat they might be. Min, the oldest scientist, stood up. We should leave now. The rules say if a young species finds us, we go. Jin shook her head. No. The High Command wants more information first. We need to know if humans are dangerous. She touched a button and the screen changed to show human history. I've been studying their past, she continued. Humans have nearly destroyed themselves many times. Ice ages, diseases, world wars. But they always survive. Tay raised his hand. His arm was still bandaged from the accident in Millfield. It's because of what they call hope, I think. Even when things look bad, they believe they can change their future. Jun, who studied alien brains, added, their brains are different from ours. They use emotions to make decisions as much as logic. This makes them unpredictable. For the next 2 weeks, the team studied everything about humans, their wars, their art, their science, and their relationships. They watched families, schools, hospitals, and prisons. They listened to music, read books, and watched movies. One day, Jun called everyone to see something important. On his screen was a human history lesson about a war called World War II. Look at these two countries, Jun said, pointing to Japan and the United States. They fought a terrible war. The United States dropped nuclear bombs on Japan. Millions died on both sides. Typical primitive behavior, Min commented. Yes, but look at them now, Jun continued. He showed pictures of Japanese and American people working together, trading goods, and even becoming friends. Just 70 years after trying to destroy each other, they're close allies. Min looked confused. That's not possible. Our models show that species hold grudges for at least 15 generations. Jin nodded slowly. This is what makes humans different. They can hate deeply, but they can also forgive. Sometimes within a single lifetime. Later that day, Tay showed them human science. Their technology growth is unlike anything we've seen. Look at this timeline. On the screen, a chart showed how human technology had changed. For thousands of years, it grew slowly. Then suddenly, in just 200 years, it exploded. Electricity, cars, planes, computers, space travel. If they continue at this rate, Tay explained, they'll have technology like ours in just a few hundred years. They might even catch up to us eventually. Impossible, said Min. We've been exploring space for 8,000 years. Yet the evidence suggests otherwise, Jin replied. That night, Jin prepared her final report for the Kildari High Command. She listed all the strange things about humans, their emotional decisions, their ability to forgive enemies, their rapid technology growth, and their habit of helping each other even when it wasn't logical. At the end of her report, she added, humans cannot be understood using our normal models. They do not follow patterns. They are what I call a chaos species. Beings who act in ways we cannot predict. 3 days later, the response came from High Command. Supreme Commander Q himself appeared on the main screen. His face showed no emotion, as was proper for a Kildari, but his voice was serious. Lead Scientist Jin, your report has caused great concern. In all our history, we have never encountered a species like this. Answer one question clearly. Are humans a threat to the Kildari? Jin thought carefully before answering. The room was silent, all scientists watching her. Supreme Commander, I cannot say if humans are a threat or not. That is the problem. We cannot predict what they will do in any situation. They might welcome us as friends or fight us as enemies. They might do both at different times. That is not a satisfactory answer, Q replied. It is the only honest one, Jin said. What we cannot predict, we cannot control. And humans cannot be predicted. Q's eyes narrowed slightly. Then they are potentially dangerous. Perhaps, Jin agreed. But they are also something else. Something new. They create art that makes no logical sense but touches emotions we barely understand. They help each other when it doesn't benefit them. They imagine things that don't exist, then work to make them real. After a long pause, Q spoke again. The High Command will consider your report. Prepare to receive new orders. As the screen went dark, Jin looked at the image of Earth floating peacefully in space. She wondered what the humans would do if they knew they were being watched. Would they react with fear, curiosity, or something else entirely? Whatever the answer, it would change the Keldari forever. 3 days passed with no word from Keldari High Command. The scientists continued their work, but everyone felt the tension. They knew their findings about humans were troubling to their leaders. On the 4th day, Commander Han from the first ship Empirical Truth arrived on the methodical inquiry. His face was serious as he entered the main room where all 12 scientists waited. I bring orders from High Command, Han announced. His voice was steady, but those who knew him well could hear something unusual in it, a hint of concern. All Keldari ships are to leave the Sol system immediately. No exceptions. Jin stepped forward. Commander, we haven't finished our research. There's still much to learn about humans. The decision is final, Han replied. For the first time, in 8,000 years of space exploration, the Keldari have issued a full retreat order. The room fell silent. No one could believe what they were hearing. The Keldari had explored thousands of worlds and met hundreds of alien species. They had never retreated from any of them. What about our moon stations? Tai asked. Abandoned. We are not to leave any trace of our presence. Han touched a button on his wrist, and a hologram appeared showing the area around the Sol system. A large red circle covered the space 3 light-years in all directions from Earth. This entire area is now under quarantine. No Keldari ship may enter without special permission from High Command. Min shook his head. All this because humans are unpredictable? Many young species are strange. It's not just that, Han explained. The leaders reviewed your reports about human history. They saw how quickly humans advance when threatened, how they put aside their differences to face outside dangers, how they think in ways we cannot understand. June nodded slowly. They would see us as a threat. Yes, Han agreed. And we cannot predict how they would respond. That makes them dangerous. Han ordered everyone to pack their equipment. Warning beacons would be placed at the edge of the solar system with a simple message for any passing ships. Approach with caution. Inhabitants defy rational prediction. Later that day, as the 2 Keldari ships prepared to leave Earth orbit, Jin found Tai standing by the observation window. He was looking down at the blue planet, his expression thoughtful. You seem troubled, Jin said. Tai nodded. I am. The human doctor who helped me gave me something before we left. He reached into his pocket and took out a small piece of paper. Jin looked at it. It was a drawing made with colored sticks. It showed 2 figures holding hands. One was clearly human. The other was silver with large eyes. A child's drawing of a Keldari. What does it mean? Jin asked. I think it shows hope, Tai said. Hope that different beings can be friends even if they're very different. She knew I was alien, but she wasn't afraid. She helped me and gave me this. Jin looked at the simple drawing. But that's exactly why High Command ordered the retreat. Humans don't react the way our models predict. Some would fear us, some would welcome us, some might attack us. We can't prepare for all possibilities. Maybe the problem isn't with humans, Tai suggested. Maybe it's with us. We expect all species to follow rules and patterns. Humans show us there's another way to exist. As Earth grew smaller in the viewing window, Jin thought about what Tai had said. She went to her room and added one final note to her report. We retreat today not because humans are monsters, but because they are a mirror showing us our own fears. We fear what we cannot predict or control. Humans embrace the unknown and unexpected. That is their strength and our weakness. The Kildari ships accelerated away from Earth, leaving behind only the warning beacons. The humans, still unaware of how close they had come to first contact, continued their chaotic, unpredictable lives. In her quarters, Jin kept the child's drawing that Tay had shown her. She had asked him for it, saying it was important evidence, but the truth was simpler. Something about the hopeful image touched her in a way she didn't fully understand. Perhaps, she thought, that was the first sign that the humans had changed her too. The idea was both troubling and strangely exciting. As the ships jumped to faster-than-light travel, Jin looked at the drawing one last time, the human and the alien, holding hands. Maybe someday, when the Kildari were ready to face the unpredictable, they would return to Earth. But for now, they would watch from a safe distance, learning from the chaos species that had done what no other species had managed in 8,000 years of Kildari exploration. They had made the mighty Kildari retreat. Retry Claude. Can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.